A surprise jailhouse standing ovation for Diddy after his shocking courtroom victory.
We are not nearly done fighting. We are just getting started.
Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, tells People magazine his client was greeted by a standing O from fellow inmates after being acquitted on his most serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Because, quote, they all said we never get to see anyone who beats the government.
This still means that Sean Combs is a convicted felon. That's pretty momentous for a star as big as Sean Combs.
After the verdict, Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, was spotted for the first time by DailyMail.com, flanked in multiple umbrellas to block the camera shots as she escaped New York City for the holiday weekend.
This trial, this would not have happened without Cassie Ventura.
CNN correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister, who exposed the 2016 Diddy hotel attack on his then-girlfriend,
Combs can be seen grabbing Ventura and throwing her to the ground.
Says despite Diddy being found not guilty on the charge he sex trafficked Cassie, she remains gratified that so many other potential victims have bravely come forward.
Remember, when she filed that lawsuit back in November of 2023, that is what sparked this entire saga.
Sean Diddy Combs, once known as the untouchable mogul of hip-hop royalty, now finds himself trapped behind the very bars that once seemed worlds away from his luxury lifestyle. The trial that had gripped the nation for weeks reached a stunning conclusion last week. While Diddy narrowly avoided the most damning charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, he was ultimately convicted of 2 felony counts: transportation to engage in prostitution. And in a bizarre twist that stunned even prison guards, Combs reportedly received a standing ovation from fellow inmates after the jury's verdict was read. According to his defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, they all said, "We never get to see anyone who beats the government." It was an eerie celebration, one filled with irony, applause in a cage, praise in a place where freedom is just a memory. But what exactly did he beat, and at what cost? Though acquitted of life-altering allegations, Combs isn't walking free. Judge Arun Subramanian swiftly denied his bail request, making it crystal clear Diddy would remain behind bars until sentencing, which is now scheduled for October.
Saga, really. In the civil sense, it's the reason why we have around 70 civil suits with egregious allegations against Combs, which, by the way, he denies, but still, 70 different people saying some version of "I was sexually assaulted and drugged by him."
So what does it look like, the path moving forward for Diddy?
There is absolutely an uphill legal battle for Sean Combs. He's still looking at a very harsh reality of not only spending time behind bars, but also contending now with these civil suits.
When this is all said and done, is this going to advance this person in any way? This person at least going to feel like that he or she had their voice heard?
Attorney Tony Busby represents dozens of civil clients pursuing civil cases against the now 2-time convicted felon. He says the jury just doesn't buy the prosecution's arguments.
But I got to fight the good fight. Somebody comes to me and they say they've been victimized by somebody powerful, somebody famous. There's only a few people in the country that have the courage to help them. And I'm proud to be one of those people.
We're not going to stop until he walks out of prison a free man to his family.
There is a phone hearing tomorrow to decide if Diddy's sentencing will be expedited sooner than this fall. Prosecutors have requested the music mogul be sentenced to 4 to 5 years in state prison.
The government would like for him to serve consecutive sentences on these 2 charges, meaning that it would be one after another to get him more time.
I feel confident in saying he still faces substantial incarceration.
3. The guilty verdicts alone carry a potential sentence of 20 years 10 for each count. Prosecutors have already made it clear they want more than a slap on the wrist. They're asking the judge to impose consecutive sentences, not concurrent ones. In other words, serve one sentence, then start the next. That alone would turn years into something far more punishing, something that could swallow the next decade of his life. But the criminal consequences may just be the beginning of a storm that shows no signs of slowing down. As the verdict sent shockwaves across the music world, the media also turned its gaze toward Cassie Ventura, Diddy's former girlfriend and a critical witness during the trial. She was seen for the first time since the courtroom battle ended, photographed by DailyMail.com as she attempted to leave New York City for the holiday weekend. But this wasn't just a quiet escape. Surrounded by bodyguards and flanked by multiple umbrellas, Cassie wasn't just shielding herself from the summer sun, she was blocking every camera lens, every curious eye, every whisper that followed her name. After years of silence, her testimony was a seismic moment in the trial. And now, even in apparent solitude, her presence adds another layer of unease to Diddy's already fragile defense. Back inside the legal system, Tuesday's scheduled phone hearing looms large. It could move Diddy's sentencing up, catching his team off guard and altering the strategy they've carefully constructed. The prosecution's plan is relentless 4 to 5 years minimum. No plea bargains, no reduced terms. They want time served, and they want the message sent loud and clear. Celebrity doesn't equal immunity. CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister spoke bluntly about what lies ahead. There is absolutely an uphill legal battle for Sean Combs, she said. He's still looking at a very harsh reality of not only spending time behind bars, but also contending now with these civil lawsuits. These aren't just hypothetical threats. They're very real, and they're multiplying. Attorney Tony Busby, already known for taking on some of the biggest cases in the country, represents a growing number of individuals pursuing civil claims against Combs. He laid down his mission. I've got to fight the good fight. If someone comes to me and they say they've been victimized by somebody powerful, somebody famous, his words weren't filled with legal jargon. They were loaded with fire. There are only a few people in the country that have the courage to represent them, and I'm proud to be one of those. That pride might be Diddy's worst nightmare, because Busby's firm has resources, experience, and most dangerously, momentum. And that momentum is feeding into a larger cultural reckoning. In a world where celebrities were once protected by their fame, platforms, and fortunes, public patience is wearing thin. Social media is no longer a shield, it's a magnifying glass. Every leaked photo, every old clip, every whisper from the past now resurfaces like evidence in a courtroom of millions. Diddy's fall from grace isn't just being dissected meme by meme, post by post. And public opinion, once split, now leans with the weight of consequence. His name, once a brand that launched empires, now trends alongside words like guilty, trial, and conviction. But what makes this story even more haunting is how far he's fallen. Sean Combs, who built Bad Boy Records, ran fashion, empires, headlined sold-out concerts, and partied on yachts with global elites, is now counting days on a concrete slab. There was a time when summer meant paparazzi shots of Diddy in St. Tropez. This summer, the only image of him is a courtroom. Sketch expression unreadable, future unclear. His team maintains that he will appeal, that justice hasn't had the final word. But appeals take time, and time is the one thing the system isn't in a hurry to give back. The emotional weight of the trial has also left its mark on those closest. To him, his inner circle, once filled with hype men and industry execs, is reportedly fractured. Some have gone silent. Others are quietly distancing themselves. The music world isn't speaking in defense. Anymore it's watching, waiting, maybe even preparing for what could come next. Because even if Diddy serves the minimum sentence, the looming civil cases could cost him everything he hasn't already lost. Brand deals, real estate, reputation, all of it is now hanging by a thread. And that thread is fraying more every day. Perhaps the eeriest part of all this is how Diddy himself is reacting behind bars. Sources close to the case say he's keeping calm, focused, even introspective. But for how long? The man who used to chant "can't stop, won't stop" may have finally met a system that can. A system that doesn't care how many hits you've made or how many awards sit on your shelf. Justice doesn't grant VIP access. And as October 3rd approaches, that truth is becoming clearer with every headline, every ruling, and every locked door that closes behind him. So what's next? That's the question everyone's asking. For now, Diddy remains where the cameras can't follow. No velvet ropes, no entourage, no spotlight. Just time.